"Where is the baby?" she asked. Amara smiled nervously and handed her the child. The old woman unwrapped the cloth, looked down, and frowned. "A girl?" she hissed, turning to her son. "Chike, is this what you've given me? After all the prayers I made? A girl." Chike's smile faded. "Mama, a child is a blessing, boy or girl." "Nonsense," she barked. "Who will carry our family name? You better open your eyes before it's too late." "Go and marry another woman who can give you a son," Amara gasped, her heart tightening. "Mama, please, don't say that." But Mama Chike cut her short. "Keep your mouth shut. You bewitched my son with your fine face. I warned him about you. A woman who brings only female children is a curse to her husband's lineage. This is the story of Chike, who out of desperation listened to his mother's advice. Watch what happened next. Once upon a time, in the busy city of Enugu, there lived a young woman named Amara, the only daughter of the Okafors, a family known for their wealth and social class. Her father owned several plots of land, her mother was a respected trader, and suitors came daily bearing gifts, fine wines, fabrics, and envelopes heavy with money. Among those suitors was Chike, a humble young man who worked as a mechanic in a small roadside workshop. He had little to his name, just a rented one-room apartment, a toolbox, and a heart full of dreams. Yet, his eyes held honesty, and his love for Amara was pure. When Chike came to the Okafor home one Sunday afternoon with his friend to ask for Amara's hand in marriage, laughter filled the compound, not from joy, but mockery. "A mechanic?" Amara's uncle hissed. "How can our daughter marry a man who smells of engine oil?" Her mother sighed and said, "Amara, look around you. Fine men with cars and companies are begging to marry you, and you want this one." But Amara stood her ground. She looked at Chike, her voice trembling yet firm. "Mama, I know he has nothing, but his heart is clean. I don't want gold that fades. I want peace that lasts." Spear Okafor forbade her from seeing him again, and walked Chike and his friend off his house. Heartbroken, Amara fell ill for days, refusing food, weeping silently, her strength fading like a candle in the wind. Chike at his end was tormented with guilt and decided to prove his sincerity. He gathered everything he had, his small savings, a second-hand wristwatch, even borrowed money from one of his customers at his workshop, and returned to the Okafor compound with humble gifts. But still, the family turned him away. "Love cannot cook soup," her uncle sneered. "Come back when you can feed a wife." Defeated but not broken, Chike called Amara one evening and said softly, "They don't need to accept me. As long as you do, I'll fight for us. And we can win together." Amara sang for him over the phone till they went to sleep. The next morning, Amara packed a small bag and left her father's mansion. Together, she and Chike rented a small one-bedroom flat house with cracked walls. It was far from the comfort she was used to, yet she smiled there more than she ever had in her father's house. Neighbors mocked them at first. "Sea lovers of poverty," they would whisper. But soon, envy replaced mockery, because their love was genuine. They ate from one plate, prayed together each night, and held hands through every struggle. Months later, Amara discovered she was pregnant. Chike wept tears of joy. He doubled his work hours, saving every naira to care for her. Chike went to Amara's house with his people to perform traditional rites. Mr. Okafor, though ashamed of the pain and poverty his daughter had chosen, accepted Chike. Mrs. Okafor stood speechless as she watched in anger. They returned home that evening with smiles on their face. The next day, Chike returned home bringing her fruits. He whispered, "Our baby will never know hunger, my love." Amara smiled, rubbing hands on her tummy. As 9 months gradually approached, the small house that once echoed with laughter now carried the restless whispers of waiting. That afternoon, Amara crossed over to Mama Uchi's shop to get some banana. Mama Uchi has sold fruits for years across the compound where Amara lives with Chike, the business that has placed food on her table, training all her kids since her husband died. Just as Amara was about leaving the shop, she screamed in pain, gripping the edge of the door as tears rolled down her cheeks. Mama Uche quickly grabbed her car key. As she rushed out seeking help from passerby to help her carry Amara to her car, she sped through the rough, muddy road, rain splashing against the windshield as she prayed aloud. Chike rushed to the hospital. Immediately the news came to him. On seeing Mama Uche at OPD, his heart skipped. Seeing Amara in pain, panic filled his face. Chike prayed, "God, please, let nothing happen to my wife and child." Hours later, the cry of a newborn filled the hospital ward. The nurses smiled. handing a tiny baby wrapped in white cloth to Chick. "Congratulations, sir. It's a girl." Tears streamed down his face. He lifted the baby gently and kissed her forehead. "She's my angel," he whispered, his voice breaking. "My dièse. My crown." Amara stayed in the hospital, recovering slowly. Chike never left her side, feeding her, singing softly to the baby. They returned home after 3 days before her arrival. Chike rushed home, and with the help of Mama Ushe, he swept the house clean, cooked. Mama Ushe carried him in her car back to the hospital to bring home mother and child with pride. Neighbors watched in awe. "See how that poor man dotes on his wife," some said. "If only money could buy such love." Many looked at Mama Uche in amazement. She has been so kind to Amara ever since she moved into that area with Chike. Days later, Amara's mother arrived, dressed in fine lace, her gold jewelry gleaming even in the dim light of the small house. She bent over the newborn and smiled faintly, but her eyes scanned the cracked walls and the dusty floor. "She's beautiful," Mrs. Okafor said quietly, holding her grandchild. Then, with a sigh, she added, "But Amara, my daughter, look at where you live. You had every chance to marry well. Now see." Amara's eyes welled with tears. "Mama, we're fine. We may not have much, but we have love. God will bless us." Mrs. Okafor forced a smile but couldn't hide her discomfort. She stayed 2 nights, unable to eat the simple meals or sleep on the thin mattress. On the 3rd morning, she stood up and said softly, "Take care of yourself and the baby." And so she left for her mansion in the city. Amara wept quietly, clutching her baby. Chike held her close. "Don't cry, my love. One day, your mother will be proud of where we started." For weeks, peace returned. Their nights were filled with lullabies, soft laughter, and whispered prayers. One afternoon, a knock came at the door. When Amara opened it, she froze. Standing before her was Mama Cheek, her husband's mother, stern-faced, eyes sharp as a blade. She barely greeted before pushing her way in. "Where is the baby?" she asked. Amara smiled nervously and handed her the child. The old woman unwrapped the cloth, looked down, and frowned. "A girl?" she hissed, turning to her son. "Chike, is this what you've given me? After all the prayers I made? A girl?" Chike's smile faded. "Mama, a child is a blessing, boy or girl." "Nonsense," she barked. "Who will carry our family name? You better open your eyes before it's too late. Go and marry another woman who can give you a son." Amara gasped, her heart tightening. "Mama, please, don't say that." But Mama Chike cut her short. "Keep your mouth shut. You bewitched my son with your fine face. I warned him about you. A woman who brings only female children is a curse to her husband's lineage." Tears filled Amara's eyes as Cheek stood frozen, torn between his mother's voice and his wife's pain. That night, silence hung heavy between them. The love that once filled the air now trembled under the weight of tradition, and from that moment, the fire that once warmed their home began to lose its glow. For days after his mother's harsh words, Chike tried to erase them from his mind. Each night, he held Amara close and whispered, "Don't listen to Mama. I married you for love, not for children or riches. Nothing will come between us." Amara believed him. Together, they prayed, worked hard, and encouraged one another. Then, as though heaven had heard their cries, a miracle came. One morning, Cheek received a call from an old client, a large automobile company in Onitsha that wanted him to handle a major supply and repair contract. The payment was more than he had ever dreamed of. For the first time, money began to flow. They moved into a better apartment, bought new furniture, and Amara thanked God with tears of joy. "You see, my husband," she said, holding their daughter. "God has remembered us. This baby is our blessing and will attract so much favor to our path." But unknown to her, as wealth entered their home, peace began to leave. Each time Cheeky looked around at the new chairs, the new car, and the baby girl sleeping peacefully, his mother's voice echoed in his head, "A girl child cannot carry our family name." Her words haunted him like a shadow. A week later, Mama Cheek returned, but she didn't come alone. With her came a woman so beautiful that even Amara was stunned. Her name was Sonia, elegant and tall, with polished nails and perfume that filled the air. Mama Chica's smile was wide for the first time in years. "My son," she said proudly, "this is the kind of woman who can give us a son. She is from a respected family, well-trained and blessed. This is who will make you a real man." Amara stood still, her hands trembling. Chaik said nothing. He sat quietly, staring at the floor. That silence said more than words ever could. By the next week, Sonia had moved into one of the spare rooms, just until she gets a place of her own. Mama Chica said. Chaik started sneaking into Sonia's room late at night, tiptoeing like a thief in his own home. Amara noticed the change, the distant looks, the sudden arguments, the cold silence that replaced laughter. Then one evening, she caught him coming out of Sonia's room. Their eyes met, hers filled with tears, his with shame. "Chick, is this what we have become?" she cried. "Please, don't raise your voice," he muttered, walking past her. Weeks turned into months. Sonia's stomach began to grow, a sign of pregnancy. The day Amara found out Sonia was pregnant, she cried bitterly. Months later, scan proved it was a male child. Chica's mother danced around the house singing, "Finally, God has given us a son." Amara's world shattered. Her heart burned with betrayal so deep she could barely breathe. She called her parents in tears, hoping for comfort, but her mother only sighed over the phone. "You chose your path, Amara. We warned you. A woman must live with the choices she makes." Her father refused to speak to her at all. When Sonia finally gave birth, it was indeed 2 baby boys. The news spread through the neighborhood like wildfire. Mama Chaik threw a small celebration, ululating as she carried the twins. Mrs. Uche stood across the road watching, but wasn't happy as she saw Amara crying in pain as she carried her daughter. "My grandsons. The heirs of the Okeki's family has arrived," Mama Chaik said. But for Amara, joy had turned into dust. Days later, Chaik came home with a blank expression. He avoided her eyes as he spoke. "Amara, you and the baby will move to the boys' quarters. Sonia and the twins need this space." Amara froze. "Chaik, what are you saying?" "Please," he said coldly, "don't make this harder than it is." That evening, she packed her few belongings and carried her daughter to the small, damp room at the back of the compound. Life became unbearable. Sonia treated her like a maid, ordering her to sweep, cook, and wash while she sat in the sitting room painting her nails. Whenever Amara's baby cried, Sonia shouted, "Keep that thing quiet! You and your child are disturbing my peace." One morning, Amara's little girl crawled toward her as she bent in pain from scrubbing the floor. The baby reached out her tiny hands as if to comfort her mother. Amara broke down completely, clutching her child to her chest as tears streamed down her face. "My daughter," she whispered. "One day, this pain will become our strength." From the day Sonia gave birth to a son, Amara's life became a living nightmare. Sonia's beauty had turned into arrogance. She strutted through the house as though she owned it, while Chaik, blinded by pride and his mother's influence, could no longer see the woman who once shared his tears. Each day, Sonia whispered poison into his ears. "Your so-called wife is lazy. She looks like a beggar in your house. Why keep her here when she adds no value to your life?" Chaik would nod silently, staring into space, the man he once was slowly fading away. One night, as Amara cuddled her sleeping daughter, Sonia's words finally took root. Chaik walked in, his face dark and cold. "Pack your things and leave my house tonight." Amara looked up in shock. "Chaik, please!" "Where will I go? It's raining outside. The baby. Enough!" he shouted. "Go before I lose my temper," she pleaded, kneeling at his feet, tears streaming down her face. "Chaik, we built this life together. Don't do this to us." But Chaik turned away. "I said leave." And just like that, he dragged her outside, slamming the door behind her. Amara stood under the night sky, her baby wrapped in a thin piece of cloth, her heart shattering in her chest. The rain fell heavily, soaking both mother and child. She found a corner by the roadside, shielding the baby with her wrapper, whispering softly, "Don't cry, my angel. Mama is here. God will not forget us." By morning, the sun burned her skin, but there was nowhere to go. Hunger and exhaustion weakened her until one evening, desperate and trembling, she approached a woman selling moi by the roadside. "Please, Auntie," Amara begged. "Just one to feed my baby. I haven't eaten since yesterday." The woman frowned and snapped, "If you can't feed a child, why have one?" She pushed Amara away roughly. Amara fell to the ground, clutching her baby, and at that very moment, a loud screech echoed. An IVM G6 Terralighter's SUV by Innocent Motors, shining under the streetlights, stopped abruptly as the driver jumped out in panic. From the back seat, a tall, wealthy man stepped out dressed in a fine suit, with eyes full of concern. "Oh my God, are you all right?" he asked, rushing to her side. He saw the baby crying in her arms, saw her torn wrapper, her trembling lips, and his heart melted. "Please, take them to the hospital," he ordered the driver. People gathered, whispering, "Who is she? Is she alive?" At the hospital, doctors examined her. She had no internal injuries, just a bruised leg. After 2 days, she was discharged. When the man came to see her, she lowered her head in shame. "Sir, thank you'd say, I don't know how to repay you." He smiled gently. "Just tell me where to drop you off." Amara hesitated, tears welling in her eyes. "I have nowhere to go." The man paused, then nodded. "Then you'll not sleep on the street tonight." He took her and the baby to a small hotel, paid for a room, brought food, clothes, and milk for the child. Before he left, he said softly, "Rest. I'll come back tomorrow." True to his word, he returned the next morning. Over breakfast, he asked gently, "Where is your husband?" That question broke Amara's heart. Tears poured as she told her story, the poverty, the love, the betrayal, and how she was cast out with nothing but her baby. The man's face tightened with pity and anger. When she finished, he said quietly, "You have suffered enough. From today, so you'll have a roof over your head." He took her to a calm, gated compound, 4 neat flats, each with 2 bedrooms. He led her into one, freshly painted and furnished with new chairs, bed, and curtains. Amara stood in disbelief, clutching her child. "Sir, I don't know how to thank you." He smiled warmly, handing her a small envelope. "Don't thank me. Thank God who sent help through me. I believe he's not done with you yet." Amara burst into tears, kneeling on the tiled floor. The man gently lifted her up and said, "No more tears. Start again." And for the first time in a long while, Amara felt the warmth of hope. Weeks turned into months, and little by little, Amara's life began to breathe again. She cleaned her small flat each morning, sang while cooking, and laughed whenever her baby clapped along with her soft songs. Music became her comfort, her prayer, her healing. One sunny afternoon, the same black Nissan SUV pulled into the compound. The wealthy man, Mr. Daniel Easy, owner of a flourishing music label, had come to check on the woman fate had thrown in his path. As he stepped out of the car, he paused. From inside, a voice rose, sweet, deep, and full of emotion. Amara was singing, her baby sitting on the floor, tapping a spoon against a plastic bowl as if joining the rhythm. Daniel stood by the doorway, listening. The melody filled the air like incense, carrying pain, strength, and grace in every note. When the song ended, he clapped gently. Amara turned, startled, and quickly wiped her hands. "Sir, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you come in," he smiled. "Don't apologize, Amara." That voice, it could heal souls. "Have you ever thought of singing professionally?" Amara laughed shyly. "Sing? Me. I only sing to calm my baby." Daniel's eyes softened. "I run a record label. If you'll trust me, I'd like you to join us. You have something rare, a story and a sound that the world needs to hear." For a moment, Amara stood speechless. Then she nodded, tears glittering in her eyes. "Yes, sir. I'll do my best." The next day, Daniel enrolled Amara's daughter in a nearby daycare and took Amara to his recording studio in town. The building was grand, the walls lined with gold-plated records and soft light. The staff welcomed her warmly, intrigued by the quiet woman with a shy smile and a baby's photo in her purse. She was handed over to Grace, one of the vocal coaches, who taught her breathing, scales, and stage presence. Amara threw herself into the training with the same determination that once kept her alive on the streets. Every evening, she returned home, practicing everything she had learned, singing until her baby fell asleep beside her. Weeks later, she recorded her first song, Tears into Testimony. It was raw, emotional, and powerful, a song that told her story in rhythm and melody. Within days of its release, the city caught fire with her voice. Radio stations played it on repeat. Bus drivers tuned in. Women at markets sang along as they sold their goods. In schools, the music was played at every social gathering, ballet dance on graduation ceremonies. Television shows featured her journey, calling her the woman who sang her way from pain to purpose. Endorsements began to pour in. Companies seeking to sponsor her, radio interviews, invitations to perform at concerts. She could hardly believe it. Me? The same Amara who once begged for moi by the roadside, she whispered one night, holding her child close. Her big break came when one of her fans, a businessman, bought her a car, complete with a personal driver. His wife, heavily pregnant during her first album leaned on the promises of those lyrics. She plays and downloads Amara's song as soon as it was released. The woman had confessed to her husband that Amara's song gave her strength through labor. The gift came with a message. "Keep singing, Amara. You remind us that storms don't last forever." Soon after, she moved into a spacious apartment of her own. The walls gleamed, her daughter had her own bed, and laughter returned to her life. Each morning, she knelt by the window and prayed, "Thank you, Lord, for turning my pain into purpose." And as her song continued to echo through radios, streets, and hearts across the nation, one thing became clear. The woman Cheek once threw away had become the voice that the whole world listened to. Her mother visited often, and was so happy seeing Amara living the life she had wanted for her. As the years rolled by, Chika's mansion stood tall on the highlands of Enugu, a symbol of the wealth he had built and the family he had secured. His 2 sons with Sonia Shine and Light had grown into bright little boys, attending one of the most expensive schools in the city. One sunny afternoon, after classes had closed, a man in a sleek black car arrived at the school gate to pick up his children. As the kids ran to him, he noticed 2 small boys of 3 years standing nearby, the same height, the same face shape, even the same tiny birthmark on their neck as his own son. The man stared in shock. "Wait," he murmured. "That's impossible." He watched the boys every day after that, curiosity growing into unease. The next week he waited again, this time determined to see who would come for the kids. Minutes later, a woman stepped out of a white car, elegant, proud, and heavily made up. As soon as he saw her, his heart froze. It was Sonia, his ex-girlfriend, the one who had left him years ago. "So this is where you've been hiding," he muttered under his breath. When Sonia noticed him staring, her face drained of color. She quickly led the boys into the car and drove off. But she knew that her past had finally caught up with her. The next day, the man, Mr. Kelvin Najee, came to the school again and waited. He was well convinced those kids belonged to him. Sonia on many occasions has lied she was pregnant just to extort money from him. The last time Sonia tried to prank him, he warned her not to call him again. "Was she actually pregnant?" he muttered. When Sonia arrived, he walked straight to her, eyes blazing. "Sonia," he said coldly, "I know my own blood when I see one. Are those kids mine?" She stammered. "You're mad? They are my husband's sons." But Kelvin wasn't convinced. "We'll see about that. If you have nothing to hide, follow me to the hospital. Let's do a DNA test." Sonia hesitated, her hands shaking. She drew attention by refusing to go. Pupil gathered, and Sonia claimed he doesn't know Kelvin. They have not met before. Most of the teachers raised alarm, saying this is how people are being kidnapped each day, and so called him a kidnapper. Kelvin stood his ground, expecting the worst to happen. The director of the school immediately sent for Chaik, and on getting to the school, he looked at Kelvin and asked, "Why are you embarrassing my wife?" After much argument, Kelvin pledged to pay Mr. Chaik 6 million naira if the test shows they are not his kids, and if they are, Chaik will pay him same amount. With that, the director of the school sent for a laboratory scientist to collect samples immediately for the test dot. The test was done and results sent back to the director, who then summoned Chaik and Kelvin to his office. Chaik was not in town and so told the principal his wife will come pick the result. Spreading it on the table, Sonia read the results in shame. 99% chance of Kelvin being the biological father of his twins. She was not surprised. Trying to pretend, she stammered, asking Kelvin to please forgive her. Kelvin made it clear Chaik will pay him the 6 million naira fine and also give him back his kids. Sonia cried in the chair. "Please, Kelvin," she begged. "Don't tell Chaik. He'll throw me out. I'll pay you anything. Just keep quiet." Kelvin glared at her. "You can't buy silence with money. Those boys deserve to know their father." Terrified, Sonia began stealing from Chiki's business accounts to raise money, hoping to bribe Kelvin into disappearing. She forged signatures, sold household items, and withdrew funds from Chika's joint accounts. She also scanned and mutilated the test results. Chik came back from his travel to see the results and happily called Kelvin. "I give you only but 2 weeks to pay 6 million naira into my account and publicly apologize to my family for the insults you gave us, else you will hear from my lawyer nonsense." He ended the call. But secrets don't stay hidden forever. One morning, Chaik noticed strange deductions in his bank statement. Transactions he never made. Missing funds, suspicious transfers. Confused and angry, he printed his account records and waited for Sonia to return home. When she walked in, he held up the papers, his voice trembling. "Sonia, what is this? Where is my money going?" Before she could answer, Kelvin walked into the house, holding a brown envelope. "Ask her, Chaik," he said firmly. Ask her who the real father of the boys is. Chicky's heart pounded. What are you talking about? Kelvin handed him the original DNA test result. Your shine and light are my sons. I've kept quiet long enough. Cheeky's eyes widened as he scanned the paper. His knees weakened, and his world crumbled before his eyes. No, this can't be true, he muttered, his hands trembling. He grabbed the paper Sonia had given him earlier, all to notice it was mutilated. He stormed out and drove straight to another hospital for confirmation. The second test returned the same verdict. He was not the father of the boys. Broken and furious, Chaik rushed back home to confront Sonia, but it was too late. The front door was open, the wardrobe ransacked, jewelry boxes empty. Sonia had packed her valuables, taken all she could carry, and disappeared into the night. Chaik fell to his knees in the middle of the living room. His empire was gone, his marriage destroyed, his name ruined. He buried his face in his palms and wept bitterly. The once proud man who cast out his wife and daughter now sat alone, surrounded by the echoes of his choices. Oh God, he sobbed, what have I done? And that night, as he lay on the cold tiles, a single truth echoed in his heart. The same door he shut against love had now shut him out of peace. After Sonia disappeared, Chicky's world collapsed completely. His business crumbled, his house was sold to pay debts, and his so-called friends vanished one after another. From the man who once lived in luxury, he became a shadow of himself, sleeping in parks, begging for food, and hustling for daily bread. One morning, he stood at a bus terminal wearing torn clothes and shouting for passengers. Mile 2. Oshodi, enter with your change O. He had become a bus conductor. As the bus moved, the driver turned on the radio to lighten the mood. Suddenly, a familiar voice floated through the speakers, soft, powerful, and filled with life. The passengers began to hum along. Ah, this Amara woman a gift from God, oh, one man said. Her song day heal broken heart. Another added, she be example say God still day remember the poor. Chaik froze. His breath caught in his throat. Amara? Could it be my Amara? Tears welled in his eyes as he listened. The lyrics pierced through his soul, words of hope, forgiveness, and grace. When the bus stopped at a fuel station to refill, he looked up at the television inside the mini-mart. There she was, radiant, smiling, standing on stage with a microphone, his Amara. The same woman he had once thrown into the rain. Chicky's knees weakened. He covered his face, sobbing, Oh God, I destroyed the very blessing you gave me. That night, he traced the address of the music company where she worked. When he got there, the security guard stopped him at the gate. Please, I just want to see her, he pleaded. Tell her Chaik is here. The bouncers laughed. You think a superstar like Madame Amara will come out for someone like you? Leave here, old man. They shoved him away and he fell to the ground. But he didn't move. He stayed there, crying, his voice breaking in the night air. Amara, forgive me. Please forgive me. Inside the building, some of the workers heard the noise and came out. Who is this man? What's happening? One asked. But Amara, who had just finished recording, walked past quietly and entered her car. She didn't even glance his way, yet her eyes were misty with emotion. News of the scene reached Mr. Daniel, the man who had once helped her rise. When he heard, he called Amara to his office. My daughter, he said gently, God used me to lift you. Now, he's giving you the chance to lift another. Forgiveness doesn't make you weak, it shows you've healed. Amara sat in silence for a long time. Finally, tears streamed down her face. You're right, sir. God lifted me from nothing. Who am I to deny mercy? The next day, she sent her driver to find Cheek. He was located at a motor park, sitting under a shed, dusty and broken. When he saw her car pull up, he thought it was a dream. Amara stepped out, dressed simply, her eyes gentle but firm. Chaik fell on his knees, crying uncontrollably. Amara, I don't deserve this. I'm sorry. I failed you. I failed our daughter. I failed God. Amara lifted him up slowly. Chaik, I forgave you long ago. I only prayed you would find peace. That day, she took him home, not as the proud man he once was, but as a humbled soul reborn. With her resources, she helped him start a new business, a transport company. Many of her fans, touched by her story, began patronizing his vehicles. Chaik rebuilt his life, but this time with humility. He warned his mother never to interfere in his marriage again, saying, The day I allowed pride into my home was the day I lost everything. Months later, Amara took in again. When the time came, she gave birth to 2 bouncing baby boys. The news spread like wildfire. The city rejoiced. Chaik wept with gratitude as he held his sons in his arms. God gave me a second chance, and I will never waste it again. Their home was filled with laughter, music, and prayer. Amara continued her singing career, dedicating her next album to every woman who had ever been broken and still rose. And so it was said of her, the woman who was thrown into the storm came out shining brighter than the sun. This story teaches us that true love forgives but never forgets the lesson. A man who despises a faithful woman despises his own destiny. And above all, when God lifts you from the dust, remember to lift others with love. To my amazing audience, what did you learn from this story? Please share it in the comment section so I can know your views. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification button to enjoy the next interesting upload. Thank you for watching.